It is the RIOT podcast. Hudson and Nikki here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend.
Yes, I sure did.
Good.
We talk about it in the podcast.
Hudson's family-orama.
Yeah.
Just nothing but
It's just
family
been a
coming
spinning wheel of people parading through my house and staying there and eating my food. And
Well, I feel bad too because it's not like they came all at the same time.
Yep.
But instead, when you just drag it out, like, a brother comes now or a mother comes this time or dad comes there, you're like, why couldn't we all just make this one time?
Yep. But then if it was everybody all at once, you think that would be better? Like so many people. I have a pretty big family.
That's a good question because everybody probably would be more agitated.
Yep.
And
the more people you have, the harder it is for everybody to agree on what to do and where
it's
to
less
eat.
time.
Yes, that's true. Then I could just go back to sleeping in and having a weekend where I just can be lazy or mow the lawn or whatever I need to do. But no, we had a good time. We went to the zoo, and near the beginning of the podcast, you'll hear the zoo story. Because that was weird.
You got to add more drama to it. You got to say something escaped.
Something
from the zoo.
Something happened, and you won't believe it.
Catastrophic.
Yes, and it left many of us in shock.
Shattered.
Yes, we were shattered in mentally and emotionally and physically.
Oh, you should have gotten your money back too. You could have told the zoo.
Yeah, that it caused the trauma.
So wait until you find out what actually happened.
It created a dangerous environment.
That's
we can
true.
say that.
That's true.
Near the end of the podcast, we talk about Dune.
Yep.
And Denis Villeneuve, which is I'm only going to say that once.
That's the last time.
But he's a French Canadian, but I say it several times in that break.
So correct him if he's wrong.
Save that, or you're going to want to listen to the end to hear me say that over and over again. But speaking of French Canadian, the Montreal Canadiens are in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, Nikki, and we forgot. We forgot to bring it up on the show.
I'm sorry, the what?
It's the Stanley Cup Final.
Okay.
It starts tonight.
And that's all hockey teams? That's not just Canadian teams, right?
Yes, it's all hockey teams, but now there's just two remaining.
In the NHL?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Very good.
But not all Canadian teams. There's a Canadian league too.
There's not professional.
Not professionally, okay.
No.
So everything's just NHL.
Yes, the NHL is the professional league for the Stanley Cup, and tonight begins the final, the best of seven.
Okay.
Between
who is it?
The Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
They are the most recent Canadian team to win the Cup.
All right.
It was 1993.
Oh gosh, that's
so
a long time.
It's been a long time. And
that means they're hungry for it.
Yep. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won the Cup last time.
Yeah.
So
I'm going with them.
You are?
Yeah, I'm American.
You're not going with Canada? Oh, come on.
No way.
Well,
no. Lightning striking several times.
Lightning strikes twice.
It does.
You know what they say? It doesn't strike twice.
Well, in hockey, it will.
It will?
Tampa Bay will.
Yeah.
Just watch.
How many games?
How many is it? Wait, you said it was at 5 or 7?
Best of 7.
Best of 7?
So you have to win 4 games. So it could be as little as 4 or as many as 7.
I think Tampa Bay is just going to just win each game.
In 4?
Yeah.
All right.
No, they're going to be winning so well.
Yeah.
They'll be like, let's just play 7.
They just call it off after 3. Oh, no, they want to keep playing?
They want to keep
playing. We'll win all 7 in a row?
Exactly. They want to really stick it to the other Canadian team.
Yeah. I don't know. Montreal has no business being here. They've won a million games in overtime, so they've gotten very lucky, and they barely made the playoffs.
So maybe another team would have been more deserving.
Maybe, but they've they found a way.
Is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
All right. Well, I'll just pick the Canadians just to be different.
That sounds good.
As the Canadian expert. What else is actually in the podcast? What? Oh, lots of talk of birds.
Yeah.
Whether they're real or not. And
bird calling,
and whether I need to download a bird call app onto my phone. It all makes sense once you hear it. That's the main stuff. That's what you really need to hear. There's other things in there.
Make sure you text and say hi, 877 to RadioU. And don't forget too, you might pick it up in some of our breaks, but shop.radiou.com if you want to check out free shipping on our RadioU merchandise this week.
Yes, and make sure you're listening in live on Wednesday for the Battle of the Buzz.
Okay, lots of stuff.
So much to keep track of.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
This is RadioU's Worst of the Riot.
So over the weekend, did you do anything fun, Nikki?
Not the zoo. I mean, I didn't go do that, which you're like, does she really like the zoo? I do, but it's been hot here. I don't want to go now.
Well, I had more family in town, which, by the way, after today, I'll be free of all family. Not that it wasn't nice to have people cavalcading through the area.
Just seems like you had a lot of family in for a while.
A lot of different family members all happened to schedule times to come visit, all in the span of 2 weeks.
Not at the same time, mind you, but, just dragging it out.
They all staggered it to really make it a very long vacation that I don't get to take time off for.
But you got to go to the
leave
zoo.
the town so that anything is different, really. But we did go to the zoo because that's what you do when you have family in town. And yeah, we saw the animals and whatever. They didn't do anything noteworthy. But what did happen was we heard, as we were walking through, a large, the sound of glass breaking.
Yeah.
Which is not a sound you expect to hear in the zoo. I don't think they have a lot of glass in there because, the animal enclosures are usually like that really like plexiglass or something. It wouldn't make the same noise.
Sure.
So why is there glass breaking? We walk over and we see a jar of pickles, a large jar of pickles had been dropped and broken by somebody in a family. And then so they were all standing around. So that's weird enough. But then somebody in the family was still holding two other large jars of pickles.
What were they doing?
I don't know.
Do you feed a certain animal pickles?
I don't know. I don't know if they allow you to do that.
So wait, at our zoo, you can bring in food, right?
I think you can bring in food.
Because you can have like a picnic or something,
right?
Or eat when you walk around.
I mean, it would be literally a crime, I think, for them to not allow you to bring in food and then charge what they do.
But why isn't it the same rules from the plane where if that's over a certain amount of liquid, why are they letting you in with pickles jars?
The air pressure. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, with that heat on Saturday and Sunday, there was just as much pressure.
Yeah. Oh, there was a lot of pressure. And so it brought in 3, and we're not talking like little. These are like Costco ones? Jars.
Yeah.
Like you could work on this jar of pickles for the rest of your life and you wouldn't finish it.
I wonder why they had so
many.
They
had 3 of them. One of them broke. And meanwhile, the dad of this group is freaking out too because he is very upset about the pickle situation.
He lost one of the big jars.
Yeah, he only has 2 more now. What is he gonna do? There was like 5 people. What did they each have their own jar of pickles? I don't know.
Did you ask him, or were you just kind of like just around?
No, he was upset enough. I did not want to get involved. Plus, there's broken glass everywhere.
That's true. Wow, I wonder why you'd bring the pickles.
Yeah, it was funny too because you hear the glass breaking, and then you could identify the smell first, and it's like, is that pickle? Oh, somebody dropped pickles. Who would have connected the two?
Let's think this with the adults probably in the group. Maybe someone was doing keto, because when you do keto, you're out in that heat. And so what you do to keep from like the flu stuff or just not feeling good is you drink pickle juice.
Yep. And the only way to effectively carry the pickle juice around was in a massive jar of pickles that was glass.
Maybe
and you're just carrying it in your arms.
There's a Costco near there, so maybe they drove
Stopped on the way in
to the city.
You're right.
Grab their Costco order.
They were out of towners. They were out of towners for sure.
Weird. Well, if anybody's like, well, no, you bring pickles to a zoo because, and there's something we don't know about.
Yeah, maybe there's some reason we're totally missing. But I'm just even surprised that they let you bring those just for the safety fact of giant, large glass bottles.
Yeah.
Why do they let you bring those into the zoo?
Well, people would be like, well, there's no real problem. Well, one broke, didn't it? So there is a problem.
Now there is. Now somebody's got to clean that up.
Yeah! You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Okay. Stop me if you've heard this before. The World Health Organization.
Yes.
Urges people
yes.
to wear masks.
Yeah, here it is.
And socially distance.
Even
if you're vaccinated fully.
They really hit that hard over the weekend.
Yes. And there are some countries that are even, at least I saw Israel, which has always been like, look how good they did with vaccinating everyone.
They're going back to mask rules.
Putting masks on and stuff.
Sydney was going back into lockdown. quite a few places. They're just saying that
Wait, Sydney, Australia,
Sydney,
right?
Australia,
Not
yes.
Sydney that works here.
No.
I was like, what happened?
No.
Has she been exposed?
Wait a minute. No, Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
But they were saying that it's basically the Delta variants.
Yeah.
That there's just not a guarantee because everybody perhaps believes that, you take the vaccine, then you're just completely in the clear when it comes to it. But it's not. It's just if you get it, you'd be a lot safer.
Yes.
Supposedly from how you would react to if you got COVID.
Yeah. And it's just, again, just like everything that happened with the pandemic the first time around was and I hate saying the first time around. As if there's going to be a second time.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we've been through this a lot.
Yeah, but it was always like at first we don't know enough, so we're taking precautions, and the precautions got steeper and steeper and steeper.
Yeah,
and I mean, they turned out seems to be that they were necessary. I mean, they didn't necessarily hit. They weren't batting 1,000 on all of what was supposed to be important, wound up being important, but they were just trying to keep people safe. But now are we going to do this all over again where it's like we just want to be safe. We just want to be safe. And it's like, man,
stop it.
What else can we do to be safe?
Stop
I don't know.
Well, this is what they're recommending. And like I mentioned, I saw this a lot over the weekend because I think they're trying to hit everybody with this before 4th of July this weekend. But they say, even if you're vaccinated, because of different versions of it, they recommend you now still, not even now, but continue with your mask and social distancing.
I mean, I don't know. If at the end of the day, if it ends at let's go back to wearing masks for a while or something until we get a third shot of vaccine, I don't know. I just don't know where it stops. But then again, if it's just masks, I can live with that. I thought we'd be wearing masks a lot longer than we actually have wound up doing that.
Well, I think everybody, once they got a taste of not wearing them anymore, was like, all right, I'm never putting it back on again.
Yeah. I see a lot of people like that, but a lot of them, I think a lot of people also were really resistant to the masks in the first place. So the first excuse you gave them, they were out there now. And I mean, it's just not the worst, but it just doesn't sound especially hopeful that so many of us are vaccinated. And it's like, well, that didn't help.
Is it healthy eating so many snacks, chips, and Oreos every single morning? No, of course not. But they do it for you.
Too many guys got the stomach for this line of work.
That's real love. It's the Riot on Radio U.
Are we planning on snacking while we do the Mario Golf after show?
I think it'd be good to have something. We still have the Twizzlers mystery flavors.
Which has been revealed.
But I haven't looked.
I haven't looked either.
So I thought if we
don't care that much.
If we don't look before Friday, maybe we could have those then.
Yeah, well, they're the type of thing, especially now that the flavor's been revealed, that they're not...
it's not a high priority.
It's not enough of a draw. Nobody is out there being like, when are they going to try the mystery Twizzlers?
We even forgot about it.
Yeah, we really did. And we have them sitting here in the studio. But we're getting organized here at Radio U on the Riot, where we are putting together a document of things we need to try.
We have a Google
food-wise.
Doc.
Yes.
Yay.
We're really going to make it happen so that anytime Nikki or I goes to the store, we can open up the doc and it's a little list for us.
Well, it's hard to remember when we talk about something. It's normally a few months before it actually comes out.
Yep.
And then you forget about it, and then it's out, and then you forget about it again.
Yeah.
And then you always say, I think we had it, but we've not.
Right. Because there'll be the stories that are like it's on store shelves.
Yeah.
And then those are always like 2 weeks before you actually see them on store shelves in your store. So we're going to just have a little list we can go off of. So if there's anything you'd like us to add to the list,
if we're forgetting something,
text it in at 8772 Radio U. But this is at the top of the priority list right here. It is the new Mountain Dew Cake Smash, which has been talked about in the past, but now it is finally, again, this is the on store shelves section of where supposedly it's out there, but I'm sure none of us have seen it, even though it's out there somewhere.
Hey, I hate it when it's not like they're lying when they say it's now available at major retailers, but they're like, but I can't find it.
It's at some major retailers in some regions, and then slowly and surely, eventually, it will make its way to your retailer.
So this one we talked about, I think earlier this year or even late last year, but Mountain Dew, the cake smash flavor is supposed to taste like a birthday cake. And I know it's going to be so gross, but I want it to be gross in a cake way. I'm fine.
What, like so gross that it's so cakey, but in a good way.
Yeah, like, that artificial icing sort of taste with it.
Yeah.
So I know this isn't going to be something where months from now we're like, yes, did you get your next set of Mountain Dew cake cans? Like, we're just always drinking it.
We're still picking it up on the routine grocery store trips.
But I want to try it. We put for food, I've got mango habanero, the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich, and the scorched and sour cream and onion Pringles.
Those are all Pringles, yeah.
And then still need to find the Pop-Tarts, the banana cream pie ones, the peach pie, and the lemon cream.
Yeah. I feel as in regards to the Mountain Dew cake smash, Mountain Dew broke my heart in some ways with the Baja Blast flavors that we tried. What was it, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, you didn't like them enough?
No, I guess I should have known because they're both pineapple based and I'm really not a pineapple fan.
Well, then that's
but I thought at least one of them, it wasn't only pineapple. I thought at least one of them would be good. And I have still, because I bought the 12 packs of them.
You still have them
and I foisted some on my family that came over the weekend, and still there's some left, and it's just sitting in my fridge. And it's like, there's no way I'm definitely not gonna try the pineapple coconut ones again. I'm not gonna do it.
Well, the Mountain Dew Baja Flash and the Punch ones, we did try those.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, I found some valuable information for you.
Yeah, what do you got?
Since you've been watching the lawn mowing channels on YouTube, I just thought you might, if your love of watching lawn mowing blossoms into a love of mowing, then you might want to know the best times for you to mow so that your lawn can look its best.
It's a trick. It's never. Don't do it.
No, you should mow, Nikki. We all want you to mow.
I'm not, okay, I'll say this, but don't get mad at me and be like, how could she have never? I've never mowed before.
Yeah, we're mad at you.
Why? Why can't I not?
Because it's a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not. I will say growing up, I lived in different houses where mowing, like one had a really big hill, and if I mowed it, I might have died.
Yep.
So it's like it just never really worked out when I was growing for me being the person to go mow.
I just want you to know that the rest of us, when we hear you saying you've never mowed, we see you as some city slicker with moisturized hands that has never broken a sweat and doesn't know what it's like to work 9 to 5 and
then go
and
mow.
Eat your lunch out of a pail.
I have
That's
been
what we
in more
see. This is what we hear.
Areas, but then I started a few weeks ago watching these YouTube channels where it's these couple of guys who go to like houses where maybe they're too old and their grass has grown too tall, or they have like fines imposed against them from the city, and like this is their last notice, and then they come in and watching them mow, like it's way more than I thought. Mowing was going to be.
Mowing is hard work,
and it looks very. At least in this case, it looks very uncomfortable, long, because he always speeds it up.
Yep.
So, like, how long is it supposed to take to mow these yards?
It shouldn't take too long, but if that is the overgrown yards,
it's a lot
it's
worse.
It's gonna take some real hard labor.
When should I mow?
When you mow your lawn, you're going to want to mow between the hours of 8 and 10 a.m. That is the optimal time to mow.
It's too bad I'm working.
Well, you have the weekends.
I work.
And you're up early anyways, your body clock. So just go out there, 8 a.m.
I'm always working, Hudson. I just can't.
Your neighbors will love to hear at 8 a.m. you cranking up the mower.
Lawn mower.
For a nice long mow.
I could always post on the community Facebook page of this article and be like, guys, it says 8 a.m.
Yeah, it's okay. You can combat the next door, the hurled insults you get with this infographic that it says, mid-morning between 8 and 10 a.m. is the optimal time to mow because the dew should have mostly subsided by then, where it's evaporated off. because you don't want to cut wet grass.
Sure.
But it's also not too hot, which would stress you and your mower and your grass. So you don't want to cut after 10 a.m. during the summer because it would get too hot.
I did actually, I think I knew this because you're also not supposed to really water outside of those times. You're supposed to water very early.
Yep.
And they say late afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. could also be the other time if you can't do it early in the morning.
I think your neighbors will appreciate if you maybe go
better?
more of the 4 to 6 p.m. route. And then they say, I love how, then they point out the worst times to mow before 6 a.m.
Yeah.
They don't even mention because it might bother everybody else in your neighborhood.
I don't think you're supposed to.
No, you're not for a lot of reasons, including not just because it's bothersome, but also because the grass can be wet because of dew, and the wet grass will clog up your mower. You won't get an even cut, and then your mower might leave tracks as well. So just a lot of reasons and it might even be dark. How are you going to mow in the dark? I know some mowers have headlights. Those are misleading. You don't need those. Those are just for show.
Maybe we should all just comfortable with the grass growing a little taller than what's socially acceptable for our yards. And then that way you don't have to mow as much, for everybody who does mow.
Yeah.
But if you don't mow, no.
You know what? You're sounding like somebody who never goes out and enjoys their yard and doesn't care about having a nice, even, lush
No, actually,
coating.
I love it, but I do have this is true. I have really bad allergies. And
Okay.
the second I go outside, I get welts and rashes.
Okay.
So I actually don't think I should mow. It's medical.
Okay, it's medical.
I don't think I should.
Yep. City slicker.
My skin is too delicate.
Yeah.
I can't.
You just stay inside and put on your moisturizer, and the rest of us will go out and mow our yards.
It's an antihistamine cream. Okay? I just can't mow.
Well, now the rest of us real lawnmowers know. You mow between 8 and 10 or 4 and 6.
That's the only appropriate time.
I've got to get home and mow.
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
All right, stick with me on this one, because at first you're gonna be like, "Why are we talking about this?" There's an app. It's called Merlin Bird ID.
Yeah.
For your phone, and it is Shazam for birds.
Oh, for bird calls and stuff?
If you're out and you hear a bird and you're like, "What is that bird noise?" You would be able to.
Okay, first.
Hold up your phone.
I don't know if I've ever thought that.
Really? You don't think?
So. No, probably not.
Hold up your phone and take a little recording of the bird. You're going to have to get lucky because you hear it one time and you're like, "Oh, I need to get my app."
Sure.
Hopefully the bird calls again. And then, so then you can identify it. But supposedly it is very, very accurate, which is nice. And so you're thinking, why? Why does Hudson feel the need to talk about this?
Why do we have to worry about bird calls?
I wish I knew about this app. I guess it was a couple months ago now, because earlier in the spring, the birds are all out and about, and I like to sleep with my windows open. And so before I started on the riot, how nice was it to wake up at, to the sound of the birds chirping and hearing all of the various sounds. This is before the cicadas were a problem. It was just so nice to experience nature. And sometimes I'd have the studio windows open in here as well, and I'd hear more birds. And there was one bird sound that I kept hearing, and I thought, that is a weird bird sound. What is that sound?
Well, you could have found out.
I could have found out. I did find out, but not with this app. So here's the problem. I did it here in the studio. I kept hearing this bird sound. I was like, what is it? I looked it up. I just looked up. I thought there has to be some website that just has the birds kind of listed by where you would find them.
Yeah,
and then you
regional.
can hear their bird songs.
Yeah.
There's not. So I found the next best thing, a YouTube video that just has birds for your region and what their calls are. So I scrubbed through the video. I found the bird I was looking for. It was some kind of woodpecker.
Yeah.
And my mind was put at ease until every subsequent time I logged into the YouTube computer here at work, and every recommendation was bird this, bird that. Watch this bird video, bird boy.
Well, it assumed that you really enjoyed the bird culture.
I watched one bird video.
And that's it. You
and
can't
all
ever
of a
come
sudden,
back.
Yep, I have to become an ornithologist according to YouTube. So I wish this app was there. Although I guess if the app was there and I downloaded it to my phone, then all the Google Play recommendations would have just been like, how about more bird apps? Why don't you just fill your phone with birds?
If that is your thing or becomes your thing, like, Hudson wasn't into bird stuff, but then he just heard the right call.
Yep.
And then he just had to find out. So it's Merlin's Bird ID.
Merlin's Bird ID.
But it's not like Shazam or like Siri where you can just have it listen. You have to record it and then send it in that way.
Yeah. But it's similar to Shazam. The technology would be similar. So I wish I had this earlier. And I don't know, maybe now this is going to be what propels me into a life of birding.
Maybe you should go ahead and download it so you're ready for the next time.
Yeah, you're right. I should. Just so I don't have to turn to YouTube again.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
It was just moments ago we were talking about the Shazam app, but for finding out what the bird sounds you're hearing are.
So basically, it's Merlin, and Hudson was being honest, saying how like he had heard a bird.
It was one bird.
And he was so curious as to what it was. If only he had an app like this.
Yep.
And now there's more bird news.
There is. There are some people out there who may think that the birds that I'm hearing aren't, in fact, birds at all. I've
not heard this before.
There's literally a rally in Springfield, Missouri over the weekend for the Birds Aren't Real movement.
Yeah.
And trying to figure this thing out, it'll make your head spin a little bit because the crux of the conspiracy theory is that all the birds some time ago were killed off and replaced by the United States government. And so now all birds are surveilling us for the purpose of some underground government network that we don't know about.
So they say that when a bird sits on like a power line, you know how you're like, how is that possible? It's actually recharging.
Yep.
And they say that if it poops on your car, that's a tracking device. It's installing on your car to track you.
And that's just the beginning of how deep this conspiracy goes.
Now, I was wondering, but then I looked further. So the guy who is doing this thing is kind of like doing it as a joke.
Right.
And they call it spread the feathered gospel for activists with it.
Yeah.
But when you watch the video, you can tell like there's first off, a rally is a generous word.
Right.
Rallies, you think like it's like 20, 25 people.
Yeah.
But some look like his friends.
Uh-huh.
And they probably are just going along with it.
Yep.
But there's a few that look like they maybe believe this conspiracy theory.
Well, that's the problem with any internet thing. I mean, you've all seen it. Please tell me this is the Onion. Like people will see stories that are too fake to be believable, and yet even on those Onion stories, sometimes there's people that believe them. And just with any conspiracy theory, the flat earth stuff, I mean, like you wonder, are we allowed to offend anything anymore? You know what I mean? Like, can I even say the flat earth is clearly ridiculous because somebody out there is like, hey, hold on a minute, buddy. I actually think the earth is flat. And so that actually applies to the birds aren't real as well, even though it's run as a joke. The guy does it so deadpan and serious, and the people that post on, like it has a huge Reddit forum and stuff like that, the people that are joking about it, it's done with a lot of earnestness because that's the joke. And so there are people that are just picking up on this and are like, yeah, JFK was assassinated because he wouldn't implement the bird plan.
That's
So
it seems like for him, for his bird Reddit forum, he's got 360,000 Reddit subscribers. And he started with the Birds Aren't Real in January 2017 at the Memphis Women's March.
Yep. And it's blossomed from there.
That's when he launched. So if you hear about the Birds Aren't Real, it itself isn't real.
Right.
There's no fresh by date because it was spoiled when they made it. Worst of the Riot, RadioU.
I've had so many people coming through, so many family members visiting town. And what do you do? What is the number one thing you do when family comes in? You've got to go out to eat.
Well, you can't eat in.
I guess some people, maybe it's like, oh, what mom has to cook for everybody because she's so good. Which that's fair, but I'm the host and like me and my wife don't want to do too much cooking.
So you don't want to clean up when you have a lot of people over?
Well, it's hard enough cooking for two people. Forget about cooking for more than that. Mm-hmm. So we ate out a lot. And now after Chris's lunch today, and then after July 4th, then that's definitely it. I'm not going to eat unhealthy again.
Well, over the weekend, it was kind of controversial for a university in New Zealand that released details on the world's first weight loss device. That could be an option, but man, people were kind of mad about it.
Yeah.
But if you've ever have you had braces, Hudson?
No, I have not. Okay. Can you tell how nice my teeth look without them?
When you have braces, you've seen the parts that are like on your teeth and then the wire and stuff that goes around.
Course.
Well, on the back of your teeth are like these bands that go around the whole tooth, and they kind of shove it up there, and then everything like the wire attaches into that. Mm-hmm. So you usually get those in the back. Think about it looks like that. It's this big wire band that goes around a top and bottom tooth on each side. Mm-hmm. And for the simplest way to explain it, it's almost like they're magnetic. And it keeps you from being able to completely open your mouth up. So it forces you to be on a liquid diet only.
Sheesh.
Now, it says you can open them up about 2 millimeters, so you can talk with it, but you can only have liquid food. You cannot open and close your mouth enough to have solid food.
Should we try it for the show to see if we can still talk? Well, wouldn't it sound like this?
You'll be able to notice. I'm sure we can notice. It allows free speech, doesn't restrict breathing, but a lot of people got mad because they said, weight for people is so different. Like weight, if someone is overweight, doesn't mean that they have a food addiction.
Yeah.
There could be layers, or doesn't mean that they just eat too much. There could be layers to it.
Right, yeah.
And so you can't just throw this at it. But they're saying, well, this is a inexpensive alternative instead of having surgery.
Yes.
So it is divided.
Yeah.
It's very divided.
It definitely seems a little cruel to me.
But diets, don't they always?
Yes, they do. They take their toll for sure.
So I don't know if this is any more harsher than what we go through anyways.
And it's definitely a thing of, some people out there will do it just because they'll try anything to lose weight.
Yeah.
And you see infomercials based off of that. Would you try anything to lose weight? They start off with, and basically then, yeah, you would.
Well, they were promoting the fact, and if you look into stuff for liquid diets, there's a catch. Because when you eventually stop having liquid, then your body's like, we're gaining it all back again. And then some. But they said that they were trying to promote that this is actually something that it's not surgery. You go to the dentist, they put on the device, it's fitted. There is a special tool that you get in case of emergency, so you can install and remove it at your own liking.
Oh, wow.
Which just means...
Which means you just be removing it.
I would. I'd be like, here's the weekend, unlock, and then you lock it again afterwards.
If it's like a magnetic thing anyways, I would just see that as a challenge to be like, I bet you I can beat these braces. You're just going to keep doing jaw exercises until like you're strong enough, and then you take them off, you have the strongest jaw in the world, and you can
your body
you can bite a... I don't know, steel pipe.
Your body learns to adapt when it's given things. So they say, though, it's a non-invasive, reversible, economical, attractive alternative to having a surgical procedure.
Hard to disagree with that. I'm looking at the pictures. Yep.
You don't even really notice it. It would just look like you have normal dental work in the back. But again, half the internet population was really mad at this, and the other half was like, well, that could maybe be a possibility.
I don't know. Like, what do you think? Are you mad, or are you just like, this kind of seems dumb? That's where I'm at.
Liquid diets are really harsh.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's worth it all for that.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Feels pretty extreme.
It does. But if you're looking into other weight loss things, those are also extreme too.
Right. You're just stuck being the weight you are.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, somewhere where we're lacking in our food fighting, when do we ever have ice cream on the show?
That's a good question. I feel like that's just, for sometimes the drinks and the chips and the cookies that we try, like that's just like, it's still somewhat okay. I feel like for ice cream, it's just...
It's just bad to have, it's worse to have ice cream for breakfast than Cheetos? Is that what you're saying?
I think it is because it's the morning hours that we do it.
I don't think that is a very riot-y thing to say.
I know. We just never really jumped into it. It feels like ice cream is so early in the morning, but I bet it would actually be a nice thing for us to branch into.
What better way to start a day? And you're putting cake in your coffee. for Pete's sakes.
Why are you just throwing that out there for everybody?
Why don't you put ice cream in your coffee?
Actually, I'm sure I've done that before.
It's worth a shot.
I've done that. You've done whipped cream. Like, you'll do whatever.
Maybe we can apply for this and then make that, and then also get extra paid for trying ice cream on the show. There's now, with National Ice Cream Month coming up, it starts on July 1st. Mm-hmm. There is a company that is willing to pay you $1,000, and you're going to do this over the course of a year, to be their ice cream flavor evaluation specialist. That is for financebuzz.com.
Well, wait, now you said it was like just for some company, but it looks like it's Ben & Jerry's, isn't it?
Yeah, they want you to taste and rate all of the different Ben & Jerry's flavors.
Yeah.
Which I can get behind that. Ben & Jerry's, I don't know, do we have to eat the one that's for the dogs? Because they do that.
Oh, they do? They offer that line?
Yeah, they did. Because you can bring your dogs to work at Ben & Jerry's. Apparently, it's a very progressive work environment.
It is.
So, open, free for ideas, bringing your pets in, having a good time, sitting in bean bags.
Well, that's why like pods.
Yeah, right.
Ice cream cartons that are just giant that you can sit in.
Uh-huh.
They say that the company is not content to just keep selling the same ice cream flavors.
No, I'm not content for them to keep making them. I want new stuff to try.
So Ben & Jerry's last year, they released almost 40 new products, and they want someone to try to test them out and give them ideas for new stuff.
Yes, and you will get it's $1,000 for a whole year. So yeah. I don't know how often you have to taste stuff, but $1,000 to eat ice cream for a year. Think anybody will take that deal.
They will provide you with the chosen ice cream flavor evaluation specialist. That will be your title. Mm-hmm. A $500 gift card to your local grocery store to cover the cost of the ice cream, along with $1,000 for your year of eating and your rating of the Ben & Jerry flavors.
$500, that should get you what, like 10 pints of Ben & Jerry's?
I was going to say, like, that's not enough, guys.
No.
Ben & Jerry's is pretty expensive.
If they've got 40 products, that's going to be a couple hundred at least.
You have till July 31st to apply. That's the last day of National Ice Cream Month. The chosen one will be selected by August 15th and contacted, and they'll announce the winner at that point.
Do you ever get Ben & Jerry's?
Not too often because it's expensive.
It is, and you don't get a lot. It's a treat.
Yeah, I kind of actually like to go to an ice cream place and get ice cream. I tend to not get it at the grocery store.
Yeah, it feels more special when you do that.
It does. But I'm treating myself, which I can't do during the show.
If you just go to an ice cream place and you just get a cone, then that's all you can have. But if you buy a carton of ice cream, then it's just always there.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
This is a phrase that many people, when you hear it, you're really going to freak out. We have a movie release delay.
No.
Yes.
No.
And we've all been trained to know what that means over the past year and a half.
And it's funny. It's like, this isn't the first time this one's been delayed.
This is so especially true for this movie, Dune. It has been delayed once again.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it's all the panic. It's overblown because it's only being delayed by a couple weeks. Instead of hitting theaters and HBO Max on October 1st, like was, I would say, originally planned, but that wasn't original either. It was
supposed
after
to
a couple
be
delays.
out. I think it was supposed to originally be out this past Christmas.
Yeah, definitely like later in 2020 it was supposed to release initially.
Well, this one's not bad at all. They're just moving it to October 22nd.
Yeah. Now, they don't really say why, and Warner Brothers also wound up changing the release date for a few other things as well. A movie by Clint Eastwood called Cry Macho is now going to be September 17th. Mm-hmm. And then the Sopranos prequel, The Many Saints of Newark, is taking the Dune previous release date of October 1st. So they don't really say why, but they've moved a bunch of things around. So now October 22nd is when this one will be releasing.
The scandal part of that always, it seems like people think that they're moving around these shuffling so that it somehow just reaches right outside of your 30 days like your month-long thing that you're paying for.
Right.
So then that way you're into a new month suddenly somehow if you want to wait for these releases.
Right. How did they know that my Dune... it really could be that if they had maybe inadvertently nothing is inadvertent, but if they didn't realize if we stagger the date in the month when their monthly big movie releases come out, that they could probably maximize the subscriptions. Maximize. It's HBO Max.
It works.
Yeah.
It works.
That could be it. If they had a bunch of, I don't know, but maybe they had a bunch of movies that were coming out like around the 10th.
Yeah.
And then this one was the first. So it's like, wait, if we push it back to the 22nd, maybe that will keep subscriptions.
Just a tiny bit more.
They didn't really say.
And Dune was one of the more controversial ones when they first announced that HBO Max would release things on streaming services and in theaters at the same time. That was always the one planned for later this year.
Yep.
But people were just really mad studio-wise that one was not just going to be in theaters only.
Denis Villeneuve was not happy to hear.
Bless you.
Hey, he's French-Canadian. I have to get it right.
You did get it right.
You got to get it right. And he's a film auteur. We need to treat him with the respect that French-Canadian deserves, especially after he's made a movie as good as Sicario.
Well, they were very upset. And so people were wondering, if it got pushed out of this year to try to get more time to get it just to theaters only.
Yep.
But I think that's a few weeks. That's not a big deal.
I have a hard time on Dune, just imagining that it can live up to the hype after this is the one that people have been looking forward to for so long. And Denis Villeneuve is very well known for his sci-fi movies that he's made. So there's a lot of expectations, and I'm just not convinced that it's going to be just super nerdy and weird, and we're not going to like it.
Well, if it is, then it's your fault that if you think that. That's you. But say it one more time.
Denis Villeneuve.
There it is.
Someone's going to say that I'm saying it wrong.
The whole time.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no! I missed it! Do it again!
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.